Pero ano, wala kayo. Hindi school. Yan mo tayo na yung bro.
the Philippine national anthem to express our pride and loyalty to our dear country.
Recording in progress.
Again, a gentle reminder to everyone, strictly no unmuting nor opening of camera unless called by the host. Thank you very much. A blessed afternoon to everyone. I am Joseph Caparaz of CM402, your host for this afternoon. Today, we are humble and grateful enough to be joined by the Parole and Probation Administration Office of Angeles City, Department of Justice. Before that, I would like to remind everyone that there will be a post evaluation for the attendance and digital certificate that will be sent in your chat box or in the comment section after this webinar. At this juncture, I would like also to extend my deepest gratitude to Team Alpha, the College of Criminal Justice Education and Forensic Student Council, and the junior servicemen of organizing this webinar. To move forward, let me introduce our resource speaker for today. It is my deepest gratitude and honor to introduce Senior Probation Officer Mr. Carter Sangalan Macabitas of Parole and Probation Administration of Angeles City, Department of Justice, our resource speaker for this afternoon. Welcome, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Joseph. Um, First of all, my name is Carlo Macabitas and I'm a senior officer ng Parole and Probation Office ng Angeles City. So I've been in the administration for 8 years now. Okay. So the outline of the lecture today is first, I will introduce our office, our agency, then the law that what made us available here, and the major programs of our office, including the restorative justice. So restorative justice is one of the major programs of the office of or of the agency. So can I share my slide, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supposedly, Dr. Gumapos is the one who's going to lecture today, but due to some urgent meetings, naipasa sa akin yung privilege na makapag-talk. No? I believe hindi lang pala, akala ko Angeles City lang or Holy Angel lang ang magiging today, ang mga participants. So, meron palang from other regions din. Anyway, basically the lecture today is about restorative justice and in the setting of um, parole and probation administration. So, may mga ibang implementers din ng restorative justice, pero hindi, ang i-explain ko today is yung ginagamit namin sa agency. Okay. The Angeles City Parole and Probation Office, ang areas of jurisdiction namin is the Angeles City, Mabalacan City, Magalang, and Porac. So, presently, itong apat lang yung aming areas of jurisdiction. So, sa lahat ng kasong nanggagaling sa lugar na to, amin pumupunta when it comes to probation and parole. Okay. So, the organization, okay, si Sir Julito M. Diray ay ang aming OIC administrator, and si 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 Sir Alan Alcala ang aming OIC Deputy Administrator. Okay, for the Region 3, si Ma'am Marisa Alquetra, ang aming Regional Director. Ang aming Assistant Regional Director is Ma'am Judea Piasachon. Okay, and the head of Angeles City Parole and Probation Office, si Dr. Gumapos, Elmer B. Gumapos. Okay. Then the senior officer, Gladys R. Valencia. Of course, yung medyo pogi na officer, si Sir Carlo S. Macavitas. And si Ma'am Mary Joy Malyari. Okay. So brief history lang tayo ng konti no, sa about probation. So history ng probation in the Philippines. So on 1935, meron naman ng dineclare na probation. Kaso nga lang, it was declared unconstitutional, sabi ng batas, no? So inabolish mo na 'yon. Then in 1972, House Bill 393 was passed to the Congress. But due to the martial law, siyempre inabolish ang natanggal ang Congress noong time na yon, hindi siya napasa as a law. Okay? So on 1976, si Honorable Chodolo Natividad, siya yung author ng adult probation law na ginagamit ng ating country today. So on July 24, 1976, pinirmahan ni dating Pangulong Marcos yung probation law. And on January 3, 1978, naging operational ng probation. So from Batanes hanggang Ulo, lahat dyan, may mga office na nakakasakop dyan. So every municipality sa ating bansa may office na nakakasakop doon. Okay. Next, the probation law. Probation law is a disposition under which an accused, after conviction and sentence, is really subject to conditions imposed by the court and to the supervision of a probation officer. So, hindi siya privilege. Ang probation is not a privilege. Sabi nga dito, a privilege granted, it's a privilege, but it's not a matter of right. Okay. Privilege siya kasi merong mga kailangan pagdaanan pa yung ating accused para mag-grant yung kanyang probation. So, dadaan siya sa investigation and others. To be able to enjoy the benefits of probation, it must be first shown that the applicant has none of these qualifications imposed by law. So, hindi siya pwedeng dati nang nakasuhan. Nasa PD 968 lahat ng disqualifications. So, once na naipasa niya, wala siyang disqualifications sa mga yon, and tanggap naman siya ng community, pwede na siyang mag-undergo ng probation. Okay? Subject to the conditions imposed by the court, siyempre. Okay. Advantages of probation. Number 1, it prevents crime and protects society. Okay? It prevents crime kasi ini-stop niya yung cycle of criminality sa isang family. Okay? So yung tatay na nakulong at dahil walang pagkain ng pamilya niya, baka mapilitang gumawa ng crime yung anak niya o yung asawa niya. So kung nilabas natin yung tatay, pagtrabaho sa para sa pamilya niya, doon na-stop natin yung cycle ng criminality sa isang family. Okay? It conforms with the modern humanistic trends in penology. So hindi na uso yung an eye for an eye. So ito na rin yung ginagamit na way ng actually buong mundo naman meron silang probation law. No? Ginagamit na to, siyempre yung mga iba hindi naman talaga kailangan kulong, kailangan lang silang i-reform, iayos ng konti. So, yan, mas humanistic siya. Okay? Then next is cuts enormous expense and reduces overcrowding in jails. Lalo na ngayon sa panahon na weekly bargaining na ang drugs. So, bumaba na yung bilang ng mga nakakulong. Okay? So yung nasa picture, totoo nangyayari yan sa jails. Doon nakuha ko lang sa internet to, yung pictures. Okay. Makes the offender productive instead of tax eaters. Pag nasa loob kasi sila ng kulungan, ginagastosan sila ng government. Okay? So pag nakalabas sila, imbis na gastusan sila ng government, sila rin yung nagbabayad na rin sila ng tax. So nakakatulong na sila sa economy natin. Okay? And then last, it gives the first-time offenders a second chance in life and provides an opportunity for their reformation. So dito natin papasok yung yung restorative justice. No? Provides opportunity for their reformation. Tapos second chance. Everybody deserves second chance. Naniniwala kasi ang probation na tao, kahit gaano pa kasama yan, meron pa rin siyang util ng kabutihan sa kanyang kalooban. Okay. So, the major programs of the Parole and Probation Administration are, una, therapeutic community. Okay? Pati ang jail, meron din sila niyan. Ang BGMP, meron silang therapeutic community. Number 2 is restorative justice. And number 3 is the volunteer probation assistant.
Wow.
Okay. Therapeutic community is a self-help social learning treatment model used in the rehabilitation of drug offenders and other clients with behavioral problems. So, sa TC or therapeutic community, ang inaayos natin dito is yung kanilang negative behavior. So, self-help sila kasi tinutulungan natin silang i-determine kung ano yung mga negative behaviors nila at sila rin yung gagawa ng paraan para mabago yon. So, tayo as probation officers, tinutulungan lang natin silang i-direct kung saan papunta. Okay? Yung nasa picture, thesis sessions ng Angeles City po yan. So, lectures, may modules, 4 na phases po ang TC. Pero hindi ko na po siya explain further dahil focus tayo dun sa restorative justice. Okay. Next is the volunteer probation assistant. Okay. It's a program strategy by which the Parole and Probation Administration may be able to generate maximum citizen participation or community involvement. Sabihin po, we recruit volunteers na pwede makatulong sa atin sa pag-monitor ng mga clients and pag-check na rin kung kamusta na ba sila. Pwede rin po sila maging resource speaker and nakatulong din sila sa office. So, ito po yung officers ng Region 3. Volunteer Probation Assistants. Okay. So, dito na tayo sa main event. The restorative justice. Okay. Restorative justice is a process through which remorseful offenders accept responsibility for their misconduct to those injured and the community that, in response, allows the reintegration of the offender into the said community. So, it treats crime as a relation of people and relationship. Okay. So, in restorative justice, we make them realize the emotional and physical, psychological, and financial stress na na-cause ng crime. Sabi dito, it treats crime as a violation of people and relationship. So, hindi na siya yung law breaking. Hindi na yung batas ang focus natin dito na sinira. Kundi yung relationship between the stakeholders. So when we say stakeholders, the client or the probationer or the accused, the victim, and the community. So yung nasirang relationship ay binabalik natin. Unti-unti natin ginagamot, kumbaga yung sugat. It is a victim-centered response to the crime that provides opportunity for those directly affected by the crime or the victim, the offender, their families, and the community to be directly involved in responding to the harm caused by the crime. So dito, we talk about the pain uh, na-inflict sa sa victim. Hindi yung labas na tayo dun sa sa ano ba yung ano ba yung break na law and ano ba yung punishment. So doon tayo dun sa kung ano yung nararamdaman ng victim. So kaya yung restorative justice is a victim-centered response. So its ultimate objective is to restore the broken relationship among stakeholders. Medyo yung dito kasi sa restorative justice, medyo itatabi natin yung mga legal representatives, no? Kasi tapos na yung kaso dito. So uh, hindi na tayo wala na tayo dun sa phase na babalik natin sa kaso ulit, kakasuhan sila ulit, no? Uh, doon na tayo dun sa nangyari, kung ano yung result ng crime. Baga, ano yung effect ng crime sa victim and paano natin gagamutin yung sakit na nadulot ng crime. So how was the restorative justice adopted in the Philippines? So basically, yung Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice ay nagpasa ng isang resolution sa Economic and Social Council ng UNO o United Nations Organization to adopt basic principles on the use of restorative justice programs in criminal matters. So since pumayag ang UNO at tayo ay isang member country ng UN, kailangan nating i-adapt din yung program na restorative justice. So doon nagsimula ang restorative justice sa Philippines. Basic elements of RJ. Pag sinabi kong RJ, it's restorative justice. Unlike the traditional justice system, a restorative effort is a holistic response to crime or conflict which needs to be attended to in all these relationships to be able to strengthen the community fabric. So hindi katulad ng traditional na nakafocus tayo sa law breaking and punishment. Dito, sinasama natin yung aspects, lahat ng aspects ng crime. So, yung mga aspects na yun na iikot pag-aaralan natin para ma-resolve yung conflict between the offender and the victim and the community. Okay. So, dati focus sa law breaking kasi dun tayo yung traditional natin, di ba? Kakasuhan, i-hearing, tapos ipapunish, bibigyan ng sentence. So doon labas na tayo doon. Doon na tayo doon sa kung ano yung matutulong natin para mawala yung trauma o yung sakit na nadulot sa ating victim. Okay? Repairing relationships of stakeholders does not mean creating a friendly and positive attitude between them. It means restoring appropriate balance of power among stakeholders. Okay? So hindi ibig sabihin na bati-bati na lahat, no? Hindi ibig sabihin dahil nag-RJ tayo, chill na. No. Ang ibig sabihin niyan is it means that people can live in harmony. No? Yung stakeholders natin can live in harmony. Yung tipong hindi sila umiiwas, hindi rin nakakapag nakakapag function sila ng maayos sa community. So pag sinabi natin balance of power, ito yun, yung equal lahat. Kumbaga, in harmony yung nangyayari sa kanila. Okay. RJ is anchored on the following elements. Okay. So first, encounter. When we say encounter, we create opportunities na mag-meet up yung victims and the offender. Okay? So, nagkakaroon sila ng opportunity na mag-meet sa isang venue para mapag-usapan kung ano yung nangyari. Number 2 is amends. So, dito naman in-expect natin na yung offender will take responsibility and gagawa siya ng steps para ma-repair yung harm na nangyari o yung nagawa niya. Reintegration, number 3, is the to restore the victims and offenders as a whole. Okay? So yung lamat nila sa kanilang sarili ay inaayos natin para makapag-function sila na maayos sa community. Okay? Inaayos natin sila para ma-reintegrate natin sila ng maayos sa community nang hindi sila na nababagabat. And number 4 is inclusion. So dito, pino-provide natin yung opportunities na mag-participate yung mga parties. So, yung stakeholders. Okay? Kasi dati sa traditional, usually yung lawyers ang nandyan, ang judge, ang lawyers, ang prosecutor, sila yung nag-uusap, sila yung nagtatalo kung paano aayusin yung kaso. No? Yung though main pa rin yung offender at yung victim, pero yung meron silang representative na umaharap. Hindi sila mismo yung nakikipag-usap. Okay. So, ano ba yung goals ng RJ? Bakit tayo nag-RJ? So, basically, ang goal ng RJ is to repair the harm. The criminal justice professionals applying the philosophy needs to understand the impact of the crime on the victims. Since victim-centered tayo dito, kailangan natin pag-aralan yung impact nun sa buhay niya. Ano ba yung nangyayari sa kanya? Ano pa ba yung maaring mangyari sa kanya? Okay? Sa family niya, sa future niya. So, by helping the victim, the system can exert efforts to appropriately respond to the victim's harm. Okay? Accordingly, hold offenders accountable. Siyempre, patatanggap natin dun sa offender yung ano yung pagkakamali niya. Pare-realize natin yung harm na na-cause niya. Okay? Reduce the victimization of the victim again. Okay? So, mawawala na dito yung sisisihin na naman yung victim. Baka siya na nga yung victim, tapos sisisihin pa siya kung bakit nangyari yung kaso. O bakit siya nasaktan, o bakit siya na ano. And then, improve active involvement and cooperation of victim. And last, to protect and empower the victims. So, sabi nga kanina, this is a victim-centered response to the crime. So, kailangan maintindihan ng professionals kung ano ba talagang effect. Para alam din natin kung paano natin i-resolve yung conflict. So, what are the benefits of RJ? So, it views criminal acts more comprehensively. So, dati kasi nakafocus lang ang justice natin is sa law na nabali o hindi o nag, sa law na hindi na break pala. Okay? Ngayon holistic na. Hindi na yung law breaking ang focus natin. Ando na tayo sa roles sa ano yung effect ng crime. Okay? So it involves more parties. Maaring pati yung community isasama na natin dito kung ano yung effect ng crime sa community. Okay? It measures success differently. So, bakit differently? Instead of measuring how much punishment yung inflict natin dun sa offender, we measure how much harm has been repaired or prevented. So, it recognizes the importance of community involvement and initiative in responding and to reducing crime. Okay? Rather than learning the problem, yung problem na binibigyan na natin sa gobyerno. No? hindi na yung gobyerno ngayon ang sasagot niyan kung sa RJ. Okay? The community, the whole community will take part on it na para ma-resolve yung harm o yung conflict na nangyari. Okay? So, principles of RJ. Justice requires that we work to restore those who have been injured. So, with the harm, those most directly involved and affected by the crime should have the opportunity to participate fully in the response if they wish. So, hinighlight ko yung, binold letter ko yung if they wish kasi RJ, hindi natin to pinipilit sa mga parties. Kasi baka hindi naman talaga sila open pa na makipag-usap. Hindi natin i-force sa kanila na makipag RJ session sila para lang masabi natin na ginawa natin yung part natin. No. Kailangan both parties are open na makipag-usap. So the government's role is to preserve a just public order, and the communities is to build and maintain just peace. Okay, so the government, ang focus nila is the law breaking. Dito naman sa community is the harm or the trauma or the relationship na nasira.
Hello.
So ito yung principles ng RJ.
At yun itatang yan.
Objectives of RJ. To proactively involve the community to support and assist in the rehabilitation of victims and offenders.
Wow. At yun itatang
Okay.
yan.
Kailangan kasi sa RJ,
Happy birthday.
lahat ng
Wow.
stakeholders ay actively participating dun sa process.
Wow.
So hindi pwede yung victim lang ang active kasi hindi natin ma-reach yung resolution at the end of the So yung community, ina-assist niya rin yung victims at yung offenders. No? Once na nailabas na natin or pag i-reintegrate na natin sila sa mainstream society. To attend the needs of the victims, survivors, and other persons impacted by the crime as vital participating stakeholders in the criminal justice system, rather than mere objects or passive recipients of services or intervention that may be unwanted, inappropriate, or ineffective. So dito, sila mismo yung naghahanap ng solution. Hindi yung ibang tao maghahanap ng solution para sa kanila na hindi naman pala kailangan. So, nakikipagtulungan ng isa't isa para ma-reach yung resolution. To reintegrate offenders to the social mainstream and to encourage them to assume active responsibility for the injuries inflicted to the victims and to the community. So, dito, pag nire-reintegrate natin yung ating client, no? Ang tawag pala namin sa offenders sa probation is client. So hindi namin sila tinatawag na ex-convict, hindi namin sila tinatawag na accused. We call them client kasi we want to remove the stigma na sa sila makasalanang tao. Okay? Na meron ding tao o meron ding opisina o agency na rumirespeto sa kanila bilang tao. Okay? So yun, bago natin i-reintegrate, syempre meron din trauma yan. No? Hindi lang naman ng victim ang na-trauma dyan, hindi lang din victim ang nasaktan dyan. Pati ang offenders, meron din silang trauma na naranasan. So bago natin sila i-reintegrate, o habang i-reintegrate natin sila, kailangan na ayos din natin yung trauma nila. Okay? To ultimately heal the effect of the crime or wrongdoing suffered by the respective stakeholders. Sa iba kasi, once na nasintensyahan na, then nag-suffer sa kulungan, okay na yon. Pero sa iba, hindi. May naiiwan pa rin sakit. May naiiwan pa rin sakit dun sa taong, lalo na dun sa victim. Mas malaki yung sakit na naiiwan dun sa victim. Kaya meron yung iba na kahit parolado na yung tao, matagal na nakulong, ayaw pa rin silang palabasin o ayaw magbigay ng comment o ayaw nilang ipa-reintegrate yung parolado sa society, sa mainstream society kasi hindi pa rin sila nai-heal. Hindi pa rin nai-heal yung sugat nila eh. So, to prevent further commission of crime and delinquency. Bakit nga ba? Paano nangyayari ito sa RJ? No? So, for example, may isang victim. No? Nasaktan siya, na-trauma siya. Gusto niya makabawi. So, once na na-RJ natin sila, hindi na niya kailangan pang pumunta dun sa daan na kung saan babawi siya, masasaktan siya, makaka-break na naman siya ng panibagong ano. So yung commission of crime, napipigilan na natin dun pa lang sa part na yun. Magkakaroon sila ng closure. Ang importante sa RJ is magkaroon ng closure on both parties. Okay, next, the use of restorative approach. So may 4 levels yan within the criminal justice system where RJ process could be applied. Okay. So una pa lang, pag hinuli ng polis, no? Lalo pag mga medyo kaya namang immediate na kaso, inaano nila yan, kinakausap na ng mga polis na baka pwede nyo pag-usapan, hindi na tumaas. Hindi na natin iakit yung kaso sa korte. No? Doon pa lang sinusubukan ng immediate ng polis yan. Okay? So halimbawa, hindi nag-work. Pagdating nila doon sa prosecution, kung saan magpa-file na ng kaso, sasabihin ng prosecution, subukan natin pag-usapan yan. Subukan natin ayusin. Okay? Usually yan, before trial. Tapos, pag hindi pa rin, ayaw pa rin, pag nasa court na yan, pag mag-hearing na, or ini-hearing na, dadaan pa sa mediation yan. I-recommend ng court na immediate sila para hindi na dumaan sa tipong masintensyahan pa yung offender. So, once na nasintensyahan na, hindi pa rin sila nagkakayos, doon pumapasok ang correction or ang probation office din. So, ang probation ay nasa correction level yan. So, during incarceration, hindi ko lang sure kung paano ginagawa sa jail yung RJ nila. Pero I believe na na-explain yan nung part 1 nung as a webinar na to. No? Pero sa probation, yung processes, ginagawa rin natin na ma-restore yung mga nasirang relationships. No? Kaya naging major part siya ng program ng probation. Next. Kahit sa barangay actually, yung lupon taga-pamayapa, hindi ako sure kung yun yung tawag doon. Yung mga yung search sa restorative justice. So, sa barangay pa lang, inaayos na yan. So, DOJ, balance, and restorative justice. Okay, so ito yung diagram ng balance and restorative justice ng Parole and Probation Administration. Okay, sino ba yung mga stakeholders natin? Okay, first, the client. So, hindi natin siya tatawagin probationer o accused. Next is the community. So, yung community kung saan sila patira. Hindi ibig sabihin ng community yung lugar mismo, but the people around the community. Okay? And next, the victim. Okay. So, paano ba yan na nagiging balance? So, ito yan. To restore balance, the client should be accountable to the dun sa nagawa niyang crime, no? Kailangan siya mismo i-correct niya yung mistakes na nagawa niya or yung mga damages na nagawa niya. Okay? So ang client dapat may accountability. Okay? For the victim, ibinabalik natin yung competency niya. No? Ini-empower natin sila, yung mga victim, na may babalik din sa maayos ang lahat. Okay? So, the victim has to be compensated and be empowered again. So, kailangan maayos sila. Okay? And third, of course, the community and its inhabitants deserve a orderly and peaceful society or public safety. Okay? So, pag kompleto to, imagine niyo na lang kung halimbawa kulang yung client and victim lang. Paano sila mag-mediate o paano yung mga taong iba pang affected doon sa crime. Okay? Halimbawa community at client naman, paano naman yung victim? Diba? Hindi na maririnig yung side niya. O paano kung halimbawa community and victim lang, paano naman makakapag sorry or maitatama ng client yung kanyang nagawang mali. So kailangan na kompleto yan, yung community, victim, and client. Pag nabuo natin yan, ang magkakaroon tayo ng national security. Okay. At least, dun sa kaso na yun, dun sa community na yun, dun sa lugar na yun, dun sa specific na pangyayari na yun. Okay. So maraming sa Philippine setting, maraming dumadaan sa restorative justice dahil yung iba ayaw nang umakyat sa korte yung kaso. Pero yung iba kasi, dahil talagang nasaktan sila at gusto nilang mag-move on. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang end goal ng restorative justice is magkaroon ng closure on each stakeholders. So, next. Restorative justice processes. Meron tayong tatlong processes na sinusunod. At least for the probation, I'm not sure for sa ibang agencies. So, for the probation office, ito yung mga ginagawa namin. Mediation, conferencing, and circle of support. So, ano ba yung mediation? Also known as victim offender mediation, or VOM. A restorative process that provides an interested victim the opportunity to meet his offender. So dito, pinagaharap natin sila. Pinagaharap natin yung victim at saka yung offender. So medyo mabigat ito sa una. Kasi may mga processes na pagdadaanan pa bago natin sila ipag-meet, which i-explain ko mamaya. So hindi to yung katulad ng trial by tulpo na instant justice, ito may mga processes to, hindi lang isang step to, series of series of sessions. Okay? So ito yung diagram ng victim offender mediation. Okay? So yung M, ito yung moderator. Kailangan ang moderator natin is neutral or wala siyang kinikilingan sa dalawa. Okay? Hindi pwedeng bias yung moderator natin kasi pag bias ang moderator natin, baka magkamali ng tanong, either sumide siya dun sa victim or sumide siya dun sa offender. Kawawa naman yung may iwan. Okay? So yung O, yung offender, and yung V, yung victim. Okay? Yung DR o yung documenter and recorder. So importante may documenter tayo sa bawat session. Kasi aalisin natin dun sa moderator yung burden na magsusulat pa siya. Kasi baka malihis yung kanyang attention. So kailangan dyan dire-diretso yung straight yung utak ng moderator natin. Okay? Hindi yung pag may nasabi, isusulat pa niya. No? So yun na yung trabaho ng documenter. Okay? So next, conferencing. Conferencing is a voluntary structured meeting between offenders, victims, and both parties kasama yung family or friends in which they address the consequences such as restitution of crimes. So para rin siyang mediation. But this time, meron silang kasama na iba. Okay? Either family or group. So ito yung diagram ng um, circle of, conferencing. So si F, the facilitator or moderator, meron si offender, meron siyang kasamang dalawang backup. No? So hindi backup yan na para makipag-away. Support lang kung sakasakaling ano man yung mapag-usapan nila. And dapat itong dalawang support niya is medyo affected din, naging affected din dito sa crime. Okay. Then the V, the victim, meron din siyang support. Okay. And same, meron tayong documenter. So, pwede rin yung either friend or family, yung mga support nila. So, dapat yan equal lang bilang. Hindi pwedeng sobra yung sa victim. So, dapat equal ang number ng tao. Next is the circle of support. So, a community-directed process organized by field office and participated in by the clients, the volunteer probation assistants, and selected members of the community in the discussion of the offense and its impact. Okay. So, papakita ko na lang yung diagram para mas maintindihan natin. Okay. So, sa F, ito yung facilitator natin. Same, may offender, may victim, may family support. Yung mga C, hindi lang nandyan yan para makimarites, kundi andyan sila to support din. No? So, ito yung mga community members natin. Either the volunteers na meron tayo, or kasama talaga yung volunteers na meron tayo. Pwedeng religious people, yung mga sa simbahan, tayo sa simbahan. Pwedeng galing sa agencies na kung saan trabaho para sa ating offender para magkaroon ng restitution sa between the offender and the victim. Pwedeng police, pwedeng yung mga respected people sa community natin. Okay? So dapat diyan yung people with good reputation, hindi naman yung yung tulad ng isang tao na corrupt ganun. As much as possible yung maayos ang reputation. Okay? Dapat din dito is yung isasama nating community member ay hindi siya yung wala siyang history na halimbawa kung ang naging offense ni offender ay pambubugbog, pwede yung tao na, yung community member na idadal natin, dapat hindi rin siya yung naging dating victim kasi baka maka-trigger yun, maging bias siya. No? So dapat yung community members natin hindi sila bias. Baka ma-trigger yung dating nangyari sa kanya. Or pwede rin yung mga dati ng napagdaanan, yung pinagdadaanan ng offender. Yun, yung mga yun, pwede sila. Pero as much as possible, wag yung fresh pa yung sugat nila. Okay? So, ito yung stages ng RJ processes. No? So, una, preparation. Mamaya sabihin ko sa inyo kung paano yung sa preparation. The actual encounter. Series of sessions yan, yung actual encounter na yan. So, hindi lang isang session lang. Then, afterwards is the aftercare or the making amends. So, dito sa making amends, ito na yung nagkaroon tayo ng resolution kung paano i-resolve yung nangyaring crime or yung nangyaring sakit sa victim. Okay. Meron din tayong indigenous practices. So, sa RJ, we give importance and we respect the indigenous practices ng ating mga tribes, no? So, either AITA sila, bully, or ano. Kung paano nire-resolve yung conflict sa kanila, bibigyan natin ng respeto yon. Pwedeng um, humingi ng tulong sa office, sa probation office, kung paano yan, no, gagawin yung restorative justice session. Pero, mas mananaig yung indigenous practice nila. Kung ano yung paano yung ginagawa nila. Kailangan maging cultural sensitive tayo. No? And we respect the cultural rights of our people. So, hindi naman masyadong marami to. Medyo sa case namin, wala pa namang ganito. Wala pa namang ganito kasi iba, yung mga AITA dito sa na malapit sa amin. Instead na ganyan sila, civilized na rin sila. Dumadaan na rin sila sa sa korte, sa pulis. Pero ito, keyword lang, dapat bigyan natin ng importance and i-respect natin yung culture nila. Okay? Kung ano man yung culture na kinabibilangan nila. Okay. So ito yung safeguard and procedures. Procedural safeguards to be observed in applying the restorative justice processes. First, the client must admit the offense to be eligible for the conference. Okay? And if possible, they should be encouraged to take full responsibility. Okay? Imagine ninyo na lang na yung offender natin, hindi niya tanggap na nakulong siya at nasentensahan siya. May magkakaroon ba ng fruitful na end product yung ating RJ? So hindi, di ba? Kasi siya pa lang hindi niya matanggap. Paano pa pag nag-open yung victim natin? E di baka lalo lang maging magulo, lalo lang matroma yung ating victim. Okay? A personal visit by the restorative justice planner or the officer, sino man po yung magpa-plan, may be necessary to solicit interest and willingness of stakeholders to participate in the restorative process. Okay? Yung mga officers or yung mga probation officers o yung mga RG planners natin, binibisita nila yan, yung mga offenders, yung community, and yung victim, isa-isa, binibisita yan para itanong kung ready na ba sila, no, na makipag restorative justice session. Okay? So hindi siya basta-basta tatawagin lang natin si victim, tatawagin lang natin si ang pangalan ni offender. Baka naman pagdating doon sa magkasabong-sabong lang sila doon. So hindi natin gagawin yun. Okay? So the victim's preference for the time, date, and place of the meeting should be given greatest weight. Okay? Bakit? Lugi na nga yung victim, siya na nga yung talo, ay siya na nga yung nasaktan, siya na yung may trauma. Tapos, pagbiyahanin pa ba natin yung preference ng ating offender? So, hindi. So, dahil victim-centered ang restorative justice, bibigyan natin ng preference yung victim. Siyempre, nalugi na sila, natalo, sila na yung nasaktan, sila na yung may trauma. So, ibibigyan natin sa kanila yung kung ano yung gusto nila, kung ano yung time na gusto nila, kung ano man yung place na gusto nila. Restorative justice planners should also get in touch with community strengths to serve as facilitator like local officials, members of the Lupon Pamayapa, or any responsible and respected personalities in the locality. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na kailangan makipag-usap ng RT planner dun sa mga members na isasama niya dun sa community circle of support. So kailangan hindi bias, no? Kumbaga, i-review na natin yung kanilang qualifications kung tama ba sila na maisama sa ating RJ session. Okay. A pre-conference meeting with the selected facilitators prior to the actual conduct of peace encounter conference should be set up carefully planned for all stakeholders. From the seating arrangement, refreshment box, tissue papers, which incidentally would let the participant know too that display of emotion is okay. So yung kung saan gagawin yung session, kailangan lahat siya nakaplano. Hindi yung iuupo na lang natin sila sa isang lugar. No? So sinabi nga dyan yung tissue, yung box of tissue papers. Kailangan strategic lahat ng yung pagkakapwesto ng bawat upuan, ng yan, yung box of tissue papers, yung tubig, no? Para yung flow ng process, ng session, dire-diretso siya. Hindi na yung tipong kailangan pang tumayo para kumuha ng tubig o ng tissue. Siyempre yung emotions nun o yung nangyayari nung ano nun, pag-uusap, madi-distract sila. Okay? Next, a pre-conference meeting could likewise be arranged separately with individual stakeholders to explain the process and other vital details of the conference. So pre-conference meeting, makikipag-usap tayo dun sa mga stakeholders. So the victim, the offender, and the community. So makikipag-usap tayo sa kanila kung ano yung magiging flow ng activity, kung paano yung pag-uusap, kung ano ba yung mga gusto nating open na topic, and ano ba yung gusto nating resolution na mangyayari sana. Okay? The restorative justice planner should ensure that everyone knows how to get to the location site of the conference. Siyempre nga naman, imagine ninyo, ikaw yung victim. Sige, pumayag na tayo makipag-RJ session. Tapos, mali yung address na binigay sa atin. No? Baka naman, imbis na ituloy ko pa yung RJ session, mumurahin ko na lang siguro yung RJ planner. Isasama ko na sa galit ko yung RJ planner. No? So, hindi natin gusto mangyari yun. No? Kailangan lahat ng details ng mangyayari, saan mangyayari, paano mangyayari, alam ng bawat stakeholders. Okay? Facilitators should ensure that the conference shall be conducted without interruption in a comfortable location and shall secure the safety of all stakeholders. Okay? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung bawat positioning ng upuan, strategic yan. Hindi yung tipong magkatapat lang sila na pwedeng mahablot ng isa. No? Kasi pag nag-init na or yung bugso ng damdamin tumaas na, baka naman magkaroon ng rumble, no? At least, kung malayo sila, may time pa no mag-isip yung isang party kung pupuntahan niya ba o hindi. So, yun nga, kailangan comfortable yung location and dapat walang interruption. So, gagawin natin to sa isang lugar na walang makaka-disturb sa atin. So, kung merong office or may room yung office nyo to conduct this kind of sessions, kailangan gawin natin yun doon para maayos, para walang distractions. Okay? So, isa-set din natin yung ating mga activities for the day, no? Para pagdating natin dun sa RJ session, wala na tayong ibang focus kundi yung session lang. Okay? Next, stakeholders shall also be consulted relative to the composition of the panel of facilitators. Any party may move to oppose the inclusion of person by reasons of relationship, bias, interest, and other similar grounds that may adversely affect the process. Okay? Tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, kailangan dito walang bias. Neutral tayo. Wala tayong kinikilingan o pinapanigan dun sa parties. Kaya sinabi ko rin na yung sample natin, yung si Kapitan nakaranas din ng same na sakit pero hindi pa siya naka-move on. Kung kukunin natin siyang community member, baka naman maging bias siya. dun sa ano, pati siya makigalit-galit na rin dun sa ating victim, ay sa offender. So kailangan um, in-interview din natin sila bago natin sila kunin na um, stakeholders. Okay? So sa facilitators, ganun din. Kailangan yung facilitator natin hindi sa pwedeng may kinikilingan. Hindi dahil client natin yung offender, doon tayo. No. Kailangan hindi tayo bias. Wala, lang tayo, neutral lang tayo sa kanilang dalawa. Kundi, hindi mag-workout na maayos yung session. Okay? Indigenous system of setting differences or disputes shall accordingly be recognized and utilized to conform with the customs of tradition of that particular. So yung tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, yung mga indigenous na RG processes na ginagawa sa isang tribe, ibibigyan natin ng ng i-recognize natin yun. At hanggat maaari, yun yung gagamitin natin process. Okay? So, andun tayo para i-make sure na um, maayos yung mangyayari o magkakaroon ng resolution na maayos, na fair sa lahat. So we respect them. We respect their culture. Okay, RJ outcomes. Ito na yung mga ano yung maaring outcome ng processes na ginawa natin. So tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, hindi lang basta isang session lang ang RJ. It could be sets of maraming session. So restitution. Um, first, isa sa mga outcomes natin is restitution. It's a process upon which the offender accepts accountability for the financial or non-financial losses that he or she may have caused the victim. Restitution is a core victim's right. So yun, halimbawa, may civil liability ang ating offender. So kailangan by the end of the session, magkaroon ng chance na makapag-usap at magkaroon ng restitution yung session. Yung session. Magkaroon ng restitution at maibalik dun sa victim yung mga nawala sa kanya. Okay? So, it also sometimes part din siya ng condition ng probation ng ating na magbayad siya ng civil liability niya or kung ano man yung nawala niya or nasira niya, kailangan ibalik. Okay? So, consequently, the probation and parole officer should see to it that the offenders complies with this condition. Okay. As probation officers, um, kami nire-remind namin sila lagi. Kasi isa yun sa mga mga hinahabol din ng mga victims na makuha nila yung para sa kanila. Kasi syempre, nasaktan na nga naman sila, tapos hindi pa nila makukuha yung para sa kanila. Luging-lugi naman sila. No? Next. Community work service. So isa to sa mga outcome ng RJ. Okay? Community work service, whether imposed as a condition of the offender's conditional liberty or integral part of his treatment, should be purposely motivated to make the offender realize that he or she incurred an obligation to make things right. In its application, the offender can be subjected to perform work service measures, including but not limited to any of the following. Okay, mentoring and integrational service. Pag sinabi natin yung mentoring and integrational service, ito yung example nito is yung uh, pag-assist sa mga senior citizens, sa mga orphanages, mga street children, um, caring for them, caring for other people. Okay? Economic development. So, yung economic development, it is linked directly with business projects. No? So, an example niyan, yung cleaning the downtown area, tree planting, housing restoration, waste management, yung paglilinis nila sa mga esteros, yung mga recycling. So, yun yung isang example ng economic development. citizenship and civic participation experimental activities which involves solving community problems. Pag sinabi nating citizenship and civic participation, kasama dyan yung mga activities na nag-involve ng uh, showcasing values. Okay? So example yan yung um, activities na nag-showcase ng proper values. Okay? Peer counseling. Yan yung mga example niya. Okay? Next is citizenship and civic participation experimental, which involves solving community problems. Okay, so ano yan? Hindi pala ito kasama. Sorry. Helping the disadvantaged. So, example niyan is yung um, pagtulong sa mga PWDs, sa mga senior citizens, sa mga bata na yung mga children's. Okay, crime prevention project. Ito pwede ito yung sasama sila sa sa ang tawag na dyan, pagiging tanod. Okay, makikipag-testimony, magbibigay sila ng testimony sa mga kabataan kung ano yung dapat gawin at mga hindi dapat gawin, ano yung mga natutunan nila sa naging kaso nila. Doon pala sa citizenship and civic participation, kasama pala dyan yung tutoring, pwede yan, tutoring. So, another outcome is counseling, no, whether individual or group. So, dito kasi mas matututunan ng offender kung ano yung pagkakamali niya. Baka naman kailangan pang paintindi dun sa sa offender yung trauma na cause niya. Okay? Attendance to training, seminars, and lectures. Okay? Participation in education, vocation, or life skill program. Okay? Or group therapy session. Yung group therapy session, usually ginagamit yun sa mga drug dependents. Spiritual and development session, faith-based. Okay? Submission to psychological and psychiatric assessment. Okay? So baka naman isa sa mga nakitang problema or habang nag-RJ is meron palang psychological problem yung ating ating offender or baka pati yung victim. So yan, submission of to psychological psychiatric assessment. Submission to drug test and drug dependency examination. Magkaiba yung drug test and drug dependency examination, no? So yung drug test, ito yung test natin kung positive sila or negative sa pinagbabawal na gamot. Ang drug dependency is kung dependent pa sila sa pinagbabawal na gamot. Okay? Attendance to skills training, livelihood, baka naman ng napag-usapan or yung end product ng session is kailangan magtrabaho ni offender para magpagbayad para do sa restitution. Okay? Marital enhancement program, couples counseling, written or oral apology. So ito, pwede ito. Baka naman yung sorry lang talaga ang kailangan para ma-heal yung nasirang relationship nila. Submission to family therapy and confinement in drug treatment rehabilitation center, including aftercare. So yun yung mga results or yung end product or yung mga pwedeng gamitin natin na outcomes ng RJ. Okay? So, common attributes of RJ process. Crime victims are provided with an opportunity to be directly involved in resolving the situation and addressing the consequences of the offense. So yun, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, directly na sila dito. Wala nang abogado na kailangan. Sila na mismo yung nandun para sabihin kung ano yung nararamdaman nila. Okay? The victim receives answer to their questions about the crime and the offender. Okay? Doon, masasagot na yung mga tanong nila. Actually, maraming tanong yan. Maraming tanong yung mga victims yan kung bakit nangyari yun, bakit mo ginawa. They can express themselves about the impact of the offense and receive restitution or reparation. Okay. Pag sinabi natin express themselves, di ba sa court, hindi naman talaga nila na-express yung sakit na naranasan nila. So here, sa RJ, masasabi na nila yon. Ano ba yung ano? Kumbaga ma-open na nila yung talaga nararamdaman nila dun sa nangyaring crime. Okay? Offenders are provided with an opportunity to, sa kabilang acknowledge the responsibility for the offense and understand the effects of the offense on the crime. Okay? So kailangan nilang magkakaroon sila ng chance na akinin yung nangyaring pagkakamali, maging responsible sila enough to understand the effects of the offense. Okay? Express emotions, even remorse about the offense. Sa court kasi hindi naman, parang hindi sila nabibigyan ng chance. Doon babasahan sila, i-hearing lang sila. Pero yung emotions nila, yung paano ba yung nararamdaman nila, bakit ba nila nagawa yung kaso, ganyan. Hindi nila nasasabi yun. Ano ba yung motive nila? Kung bugso ng damdamin, bakit ano ba nangyari? Baka may mga underlying factors pa yon. So doon, nailalabas nila lahat doon. Okay? Receive support to repair harm caused to the victim or oneself and family. Okay, doon papasok yung community natin, no? So, meron silang support na natatanggap, no? Like, for example, sa probation officers, kung dati, kung gusto man nilang mag-sorry, pero walang way, yung probation officer, um, pwede niyang suportahan yung gustong mangyari ng offender para may labas niya yung kanyang gustong sabihin dun sa ating victim. Okay. Crime victims are provided with an opportunity to receive an apology, restore, when appropriate, a relationship with the offender. So usually yung mga pag family members yung victim and yung offender, reach closure. Okay. Offender are provided with an opportunity to make amends or restitution, reparation, or apologize to the victims, restore the relationship with the victim when appropriate, and reach closure. So, makikita nyo, pareho sila magkakaroon ng closure. Diba sinabi ko naman kanina pa, at the end, yung pinaka goal ng RJ is magkaroon ng closure sa both parties. So, that sums up my lecture, no? Yung restorative justice sa Philippines is also the same with the other countries. Dahil na isa lang naman yung format niyan na pinag-base natin sa UN. Ang main focus lang is to alisin yung trauma dun sa ating victim. Ibigay sa victim yung justice na gusto niya, yung kumbaga yung ma-open niya yung sarili niya, open up niya, magkaroon siya ng closure. Yung psychological and emotional damage na cause ng crime is ma-repair. And if ever na family members yung kanilang ang kanilang complaint offender, magkaroon sila ng maibalik yung tiwala sa isa't isa. Okay. Sabi nga nung una, it doesn't have to be a friendly environment yung restorative justice, kundi magkaroon ng balance ng power. Okay. So, maibalik at magkaroon ng harmonious na pamumuhay ang bawat isa. The victim or the vendor, or the community. Okay. So I'll be playing a short video, two videos, um, para maintindihan pa natin kung ano yung restorative justice. Okay. Ang setting nito is in UK, pero same thing lang sa Philippines. Same thing lang.
A single act of crime can affect someone long after it happens. The mind replays it endlessly, warping what really happened and consuming our thoughts. No one can undo what happened, but there is a simple process which 85% of victims of crime said helped. Restorative justice is a process through which victims can meet their offender. It allows them to ask questions, have their say, and move on with their lives. Help us spread the word about restorative justice. You never know who it may help in the future. Restorative justice works. Share this film and help us spread the word.
Okay. So sa video na nakita natin, no, nakita natin yung victim na paulit-ulit na nagpi-play sa utak niya yung yung crime. So may trauma siya. Yun yung gusto nating alisin sa restorative justice. Gusto nating mamuhay siya ng normal. So pagka ganun na paulit-ulit nagpi-play yung crime, di ba, kahit naman tayo matuturete tayo at masisira yung ulo natin kakaisip sa anong dapat mangyari. So ganun yung kinocure o yung inaayos ng restorative justice. Okay, another video.
Becoming a victim of crime is often a traumatic experience. Many victims feel that their life has been turned upside down. What was once normal and familiar no longer feels safe. And the criminal justice process can be daunting and complicated, leaving those who have been harmed feeling excluded and in need of answers. Restorative justice can change this. Restorative justice gives victims the opportunity to communicate with the offender, to express how they have been affected by the crime, and gives the chance to have unanswered questions resolved. Restorative justice is completely optional, and it can only happen if both parties agree to take part, and any party can stop the process at any time if they are not comfortable with it, or if they just need a break. And restorative justice works. The vast majority of victims are happy with the process, and reoffending rates for offenders who take part in the process are exceptionally low. It's not about passing judgment, it's about repairing the harm that has been done. With a unique process which allows those taking part to regain a sense of control, drawing a line under whatever has happened, so they can look to the future and move on with their lives.
Since the process, I'm no longer a victim. I'm really glad I did it.
We felt like somebody actually really cared about us for the first time.
It really affected me. I saw the effects of my actions. Everyone has the ability to change. Restorative justice helps people move on with their lives.
Okay. So, okay, with that, I will just give you a short words of lang, wisdom, kumbaga. So your job is not to judge. Your job is not to figure out if someone deserves something. Your job is to lift the fallen, to restore the broken, and to heal the hurting. Okay? To sa mga future na magiging urgent planner, um, we have to be careful when it comes to planning, and we have to be mindful of the things that we will be saying during the sessions. Kasi one word, ang galing mo lang isang one word, don't say isang sentence, mag-iiba na yung meaning. So we have to be careful, and ang ultimate goal naman natin is magkaroon ng payapang lugar, payapang pamumuhay. And everybody deserves a closure. Okay? Ewan ko lang doon sa mga naghihiwalay. May iba dyan. So with that, I would like to thank everyone, the Holy Angel University, especially to Chairman Joseph Caparas for inviting me as the resource speaker. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very informative lecture today. Indeed, everyone has ability to change, and restorative justice is help us to move forward in our life, and everyone deserves a second chance, especially our PDL peoples. So thank you, sir, for your knowledge, for sharing your knowledge. Your expertise has truly imparted to our participants. For now, for this juncture, sir, we'll have our question and answer portion for the participants who would like to ask you, sir.
Okay.
So may I invite the participants to type their question in the chat box or the comment section in the FB page that they would like to ask. Thank you very much.
Ito tulirannya. Ay tangketa nih.
Hello, everyone, and may I invite you to ask? There's one question, sir, in the chat box. Let me read that question, sir, by Ronnie Basa. As to what extent or gravity of the offense we can apply restorative justice, sir.
Okay.
God bless you.
To the extent of gravity of the offense, actually, wala namang specific kaso na meron kasing mabibigat na kaso na kaya mong ERJ. No? Pwedeng pag-usapin yung mga tao. And it depends kasi on the willingness of the participants to be part of the RJ process. No? Yun yung pinaka pinaka deciding factor natin kung ma-RJ ba siya o hindi. For other cases, like drugs, pwede naman siyang ERJ. Pero since ang victim niya is yung state, magkakaroon lang tayo ng kumbaga, yung circle of support. Sila yung mga supports coming from the community. Sila yung magiging sila yung magiging tutulong dun sa ating offender. Okay. I hope na answer ko yung question mo. So, when it comes to the gravity, hindi natin alam kung hanggang saan yun. As long as kaya siyang ERJ at willing mag-participate both parties, pwede natin siyang ERJ.
Thank you for that answer, sir. For the second question, sir, by Jezreel Fortas, ito po yung question niya. How can a probation officer have a positive impact to bring about the change in the offender? Again, sir, how can a probation officer have a positive impact to bring about change in an offender?
Okay. How can a probation officer have a positive impact? Okay. Yung natututunan ng clients natin, uh, yun yung reflection ng tinuturo natin o kung paano tayo makisama sa kanila. So, kagaya nga na sinabi ko nung first part, yung isa sa mga major programs natin is yung TC. So, yung negative behaviors nila, aayusin natin yun. By sila mismo, yung sila mismo yung iisip ng paraan kung paano nila mababago yun. Kami, to be honest, hindi naman lahat nagbabago ng client. Hindi naman lahat. Marami, lang, for compliance lang dahil nagkaroon sila ng kaso. Pero there are people na willing naman sila mag-change. Tumabalik naman sila sa office, nagpapasalamat sila na malaki na itulong nila. Marami silang natutunan. Kasi kami mismo, personal namin silang kinakausap. We are not there as an officer na ini-instruct lang sila. We are there to counsel them. Bibigyan namin sila ng guidance. So, syempre, wala namang officer naman gustong maulit ang kaso ng kanilang client. So, kumbaga tinuturo lang namin sa kanila yung tamang daan. Dapat nilang tahan.
Tok tok.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you for that, sir. We have one more question in the FB page, sir. This is the question, sir. How is by Dan Moreno? How about the case of Lausi, sir? Pwede bang siyang ipilit sa restorative justice since the provision of the law prohibited even the police to meditate? Meditate, sir.
When pag dumating na yan sana sa probation, sa part namin, pwede naman silang ERJ. Yun kung gusto. Depende naman sa kaso yun kung sinasaktan yung kaso ng spouse, sinaktan nila yung babae or nanakit talaga. Siyempre, depende rin yun kung papayag pa o hindi yung babae. Pero on our part, as probation officers, kung gusto siyempre ang bibigyan natin preference dyan yung victim. Kung gusto ng victim, pwede naman natin silang ERJ. Kasi, part din yun ng healing ng babae. Though hindi sila magsasama ulit, pero at least magkakaroon sila ng civil na relationship para din sa mga anak nila or kung hindi man sa family, at least magkaroon sila ng civil relationship pagka nagkikita sila sa daan. Hindi yung meron pa ring trauma yung babae. That's in the probation, no? Pagka pumasok na sa kaso sa amin. On other aspects, no? Hindi ko lang sure kung paano nila ginagawa.
Thank you very much, sir, for that answer. So that concludes, sir, our question and answer portion. Unless gusto niyo pa bang sumagot, meron pa po kasi nagtatanong dito sa chat box.
Okay. Entertain ko tong last. No?
Okay, sige po.
Hindi siya related sa RG. Pero ito.
Jessica
one
po
of
ba?
the probationer will violate the conditions of probation and the conditions are already modified kasi po naka-violate na siya before. What will happen to the probationer? Sa amin po, pagka na-violate na ulit yun, so na-modify na siya, na-notify na siya, para lang at least makasunod siya at na ano niya pa yun, na violate. We will file a appropriate motion or report sa court na nababiolate niya yun. And then the court will decide kung i-revoke ba o babawiin yung probation niya. Remember, the probation is sa privilege. Pag nagkaroon ka ng violation din, automatic yan, pwedeng bawiin ng court. Pero dahil sa ano na rin, sa puso ng mga judges natin. Yung iba, hindi naman nare-revoke, kundi na modify lang. So on our part, pag-file kami ng appropriate report sa court.
Sure, thank you for that question. Likewise to Miss Jessica. At this juncture, sir, to extend our gratitude, we would like to award the certification of appreciation of All Angel University College of Criminal Justice Education and Forensics. Alabagus class of 2022 present this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Carlo S. Macabitas in grateful recognition for the valuable sharing of his time in the webinar entitled Part 2, Understanding Restorative Justice in Philippine Setting, a Road to Healing webinar, conducted by Alabagwis class of 2022, Team Alpha, in fulfillment of their requirements for graduation given this 29th day of April in the year of our Lord 2022 at Holy Angel University, Angeles City, Philippines, signed by Joseph D. Caparas. Yours truly, the Team Alpha team leader, by Sir Edward M. De Malanta, Practicum Coordinator, and Dr. Nino M. Cabili, our Dean. Sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Holy Angel, and sa inyong team. No? Sayang, parang hindi ko nakikita yung pangalan ng ibang mga kakilala ko sa inyo. Si Bien, paborito ko si Bien. Anyway, thank you, and if ever may questions po kayo, you can about the probation. May video presentation po ang probation about frequently asked questions. You can search it sa YouTube and hanapin nyo lang po yung Tarlac City Parole and Probation Office sa YouTube, and nandun yung mga videos na tungkol doon sa mga gusto nyong malaman about parole and probation. Okay, thank you so much, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, sir, again for imparting your knowledge to us. And everyone, thank you for your participation. May I invite everyone to open their cameras for the photo opportunity.
Hurry up. Yes, yes.